States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come tonight thanking you for each and every blessing that you've given us. Be with this council, dear Heavenly Father, that the decisions that are made here will be for the betterment of the community. Be with our council, dear Heavenly Father, for the ones that, dear Heavenly Father, have health issues. Guide and direct their lives. Be with the ones, dear Heavenly, that have family members that are sick. Be with all the caregivers in our community. Be with the families of the ones that have lost loved ones this past week. Be with our armed service personnel, not only on foreign grounds, but here in the United States, and guide and direct their lives. Bring them safely home to their families. Be with our nation, dear Heavenly Father, as we come through the election years. And dear Heavenly Father, we all should be proud and take the opportunity to vote, dear Heavenly Father, to take advantage of what we have, where we can assemble, dear Heavenly Father, and not be fearful of life or limb. We ask in our precious name. Amen. Need a motion to approve the minutes of the 2/8/16 meeting.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Motion by Mr. Hall and second by Mr. Short. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
McManus. Mizell.
Yes.
And Short.
Yes.
Thank you.
Citizens' request. Mayor's report. Motion to accept road closure on Market Street from Superman Square to 8th Street on the Saturday, May the 14th, from noon until around midnight for the purpose of the Relay for Life.
I'll make that motion.
If you notice, we had this on here a couple of weeks ago, just for an informational thing. We brought it back now for a formal vote and a motion where that the Relay for Life can plan and get their advertisement and stuff where it is already done. They don't have to worry about it. So I know the folks there that support that in our community appreciate that. And hopefully it will be a good turnout and better not only for the Relay for Life, but our businesses uptown and maybe help a little traffic there. Motion to accept, next motion. Motion to accept purchase, oh, I'm sorry. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
Excuse me, McManus. Mizell.
Yes.
And Short.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll ask for a motion and then I will explain this. I need a motion to purchase 2 dump trucks, 1 dump truck, and it's 1 dump truck with a snowplow attachments on it.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. McManus,
Second.
second by Mr. Barfield, and then I will explain. As you know, each year we put a certain amount of money in there in our budget for half-ton, ton-and-a-half trucks, well, ton and ton-and-a-half. They are tremendously hard to find in that size. Now, you can find a lot of bigger ones, but those trucks are really hard to come across that have not been completely wore out.
That truck, that's a ton and a half. It also has a sand spreader on the back.
One of them is a ton-and-a-half dump truck with a snowplow attachment and a spreader, new spreader.
Goodbye.
Yes, and the other one is a ton-and-a-half. It's the larger ton-and-a-half, but it is a good hauling type truck for our brush and things like that going to and from the landfill. It won't be the greatest truck in the world for the street use, but it will be good for the water department, the street department, and the light department as they cut limbs and stuff like that to take them to the landfill. They are both in excellent shape. One of them is local, actually belongs to a local guy right here in Massac County. The other one is coming from the same place in Kankakee that we bought the other two snowplows. I was excited about the one dump truck with the snowplow on it because of the fact we have two good operating snowplows, both of them a little bigger than that. Now then, we can, the snowplow is a quick hitch type thing. We can take it off, put it on in just a matter of minutes. That way, in the snow events, we will have an extra snowplow to put on the streets to get our streets. It'll cut a lot of time off of snow removal.
Both these trucks are diesel engine, right?
Yes, sir.
That's fully equipped, that snowplow, the lights, the emergency lights.
Everything is in operating order. The only thing I do know on the one that is local, the thermostat is bad in it, and we know that, and it won't be a problem for us to change. One of them is actually a 2000, and the other one is a 201. One of them has 26,000, 30,000, and the other one has 60,000. The 2000 truck is the one that was actually from Kankakee, and that is actually an F650, and it has 6 brand new tires, and that's small enough you don't have CDL for it, and they were asking $23,800 for that truck, and finally we got them down to 18.
18 even?
Yes.
Good.
Wait, I apologize, that's not right, Mr. Carroll. The 23,800 when we got down to 19,000. The other truck, we got down to 18. So one of them was 18, one of them was 19. The 201 is a 4x4 too. And that's the one that's actually the snowplow and everything like that. So it's a good deal for us. We do have a motion, we do have a second, and we will go get those this week.
Good.
Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Mizell.
Yes.
And Short.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do want to mention in my report the death of Miss Nancy Oliver. Nancy's was a longtime employee of the library, and I guess Nancy was involved in many things in the city of Metropolis as far as community events and things like that. She worked for the library. She was actually very active and worked in the Chamber of Commerce office for many years. Nancy will be a person that will be greatly missed by the city of Metropolis. So just keep her family in your prayers. And I think that's the only thing for the good of the cause. Mr. Corporate Counsel.
Thank you, Mayor. First item on here, just a couple of Open Meetings Act reminders. And I feel a little negligent. I don't know that I ever mentioned this to our new gentlemen that are on our council, but all elected officials and appointed officials are required to complete an online Open Meetings Act training. You may have already done that and turned it into Jan, but I ran across, this also applies to boards and commissions that we appoint too. So as we put new members on, they have to do the same thing. And I happened to run across this with another client too, so it occurred to me, probably wouldn't hurt just to bring out a reminder that when we have, whether it's a board, a committee, a commission, now you don't have to do it once, so I mean, if you serve on team, you could even serve on the city council here in another public body somewhere, and you've done it once, that's good enough. But the reason I mention it too is because there's actually the Attorney General's office, the Public Access Counselor's office within the Attorney General's office, has become pretty aggressive at monitoring compliance and ensuring compliance with the Open Meetings Act. And they've issued a number of opinions, binding opinions, in the last year and a half, and most of them went against municipalities, okay? And the same thing's happening under FOIA requests now too. I mean, there's a lot of things that we used to not necessarily disclose, and there've been some decisions come down now that are gonna make us disclose. And personally, I don't know that I agree with them, but we're gonna have to disclose disclose certain documents when they come out. And one of them I'll get with Harry and talk about, but accident, photos and everything concerning accidents and even death scene investigations and things like that. I mean, it seems almost kind of gruesome, but I mean, that it's gonna be required and that you have to supply. I say I don't always agree, but they're really coming down in terms of making everything as transparent as possible. And one of the bills that got introduced about 2 weeks ago, there's always bills introduced every session for Open Meetings Act, Freedom of Information. One of them actually says about this training. Up to now, there's not been real teeth to it. I mean, it's been, well, you're supposed to do it, you got 90 days to do it after you're elected or appointed, and you file it with the clerk. But if you didn't do it, nothing happens, okay? Well, now they're talking about, they've introduced a bill that would say that if you don't do it, and then you can get a notice either from the Attorney General's office or even from your own public body that says you have 30 days. If you don't have it done in that period, then you're not allowed to participate in any meetings going forward. Now, what the bill doesn't tell us, and it doesn't say, is does that mean your seat's vacant? Or it's only vacant until such time as you get the training complete? What if you voted or something? Well, or can you be counted for a quorum? It doesn't really answer those questions. They don't think it's going to pass, but it's just an indication of how much further the law keeps getting pushed in that direction. So another thing I ran across, and I ran across this with one of our own commissions recently that I was doing some work with, and I ran across it with another client too. Regardless of the type of meeting we have, if it's a public meeting, in other words, if we have the body and there is a quorum present, we have to have a public comment session. Now, we always do here in council, we put it on the agenda. But you'd be amazed at how many don't actually have it on their agenda. Now, nothing in the law says it has to be on the agenda, okay? But it says you have to make time available for public comment. So, that's another one that, believe it or not, the Attorney General, if they receive a complaint, will follow up. You'll have to respond to. So, I just bring these things to your attention because sometimes we do stuff over and over and it gets to be sort of old hat and we don't think about it anymore, and then if we happen to skip something, we don't really think about it. But this is an area of the law that, at least with respect to public bodies, public committees, public commissions, they take very seriously, and it's getting more and more stringent all the time. Next thing on the list I was thinking, came up, we probably had, in the last 2-3 months, we've probably run across more businesses and small commercial entities that have called us and contacted us about water meters. And water meters are one area where we can really help serve, particularly our small customers and our small businesses, and help them out a lot. We have very favorable metered rates, and right now, with that, since we don't have meters in the city, most small businesses are paying at least a rate equal to one household, but most only use a fraction of what a household does. An average household uses about 4,000 to 6,000 gallons a month. Most of these average businesses probably use 1,200 gallons a month, if they use that much. And so, one of the things, the city council a few years ago appropriated about $10,000 that the mayor and city government could use sort of as an economic incentive for putting in meters and things like that. And we started to get, it's taken a while to catch on and for people to ask. And but now we're starting to get some requests, and one of the things I think it might be beneficial is if we develop a policy, because if we make this a policy and it comes from the council and the mayor on down, then it becomes more consistent for what the various department people know to apply. And by that I mean, I think oftentimes we can tell people in business or small users, oh yeah, we can put you in a meter, we can do this for you. And then technically or logistically it looks difficult, okay, because sometimes some parts of the town, old parts of the town, you got 3 buildings that all connect together out in the street. But most of them, what we've found, have an inside shutoff. Now, historically, we don't like to put meters inside, but nowadays they make meters that fit on the outside wall that run into the inside. So you can actually do this. These are things that we have not looked into and really developed, but I think if we develop a it serves several purposes. One, you know, we're limited on the kind of funds we can access because we don't have meters. We don't get to access rural development funds, for example, because we don't have meters in this town. So we're limited on what we can do. But meters by EPA standards are a conservation measure. They're an energy efficient measure. So they actually provide some incentives if you go to meters. They like to help you go to meters. It's one way we can give something back to the customers without hurting ourselves too. And you know, you're talking that with a metered rate, a small business will save $400 to $500 a year at least over what we pay right now. And many of them will save more than that because some of them are probably paying a rate of maybe 2 households, even though they wouldn't likely use that. But
In saying that, we will still have to establish a minimal. You know, you still can't put it in and let it be, you know, put it in and somebody reading it for $1.50.
we do have minimums. We have a $19 minimum on a sewer, and I think we have an $18 minimum on water. So no matter how little these we get, we will make our money back. But the other thing about it is too, we also, water meters no different than electric. They're radio read or electronic read, so you don't have to actually flip a lid necessarily to go read a water meter anymore. So we need to start on a policy. That way our department people that are interact with this, I mean, I ran a couple of these where Chad does the building permits and the zoning and stuff, and he knew a little bit. And then the clerk's office usually sends out the work orders, but they know a part of this stuff. The water department knows a part of this stuff, but we need it coordinated so that we can have it. If somebody wants one, here's step 1, step 2, step 3, and to lay it out to get it done for them. And then we need to look at these other technologies, I think, that will allow us to have them even in the difficult places, because it's a good thing for our customers.
Mr. Abel, before we go, I'd like to back up to that public comment. Does that include board meetings?
Yes, all public meetings are supposed to, now, there may not be anybody show up, so there may not, just like tonight, there may not be anybody show up.
Still need it on there, right?
Well, you don't have to have it on the agenda. The reason,
have to offer it.
you have to offer it if somebody is there and wants to speak, you have to have it. But the reason I always recommend put it on the agenda is then you don't forget it, okay? That's the whole reason to put it on the agenda, you just don't forget it.
Then it shows it was there.
Yeah,
Carroll's been caught in this too recently.
yeah,
Rural housing projects.
they did.
It
They got-
keeps you from maybe getting embarrassed or embarrassing someone. I mean, we pretty well know who comes to our meetings and stuff like that. If you see somebody out there, you know, and it's on there, and you ask for public comment or citizens' request, you're inviting them to say what they need to, and it keeps them maybe and sometimes actually having to present themselves to you. So it's good to
But you can also place a time limit on it.
Absolutely.
You can,
If it gets out of hand.
what you have to do, and I drafted a set for somebody else once. There are some rules that you can adopt, but if you're gonna have rules, you have to formally adopt them at the council level or at the board level. You can, the Attorney General's kind of cracked down on those too. You can't require somebody to furnish their address. You can't require them to tell you what they wanna talk about. You cannot require them to furnish any other forms of private information, okay? Now, you can ask them their name so that you can get it in the record and stuff. You can limit comments, typically, maybe 3 minutes, something like that. And you can limit the overall comment period to 30 minutes. Now, you can encourage them that if, say, 15 people show up and they all want to talk about the same thing and they all got the same basic comment to make, you can encourage them or ask them, would you maybe mind choosing a spokesperson? Now, we'll list all your names as having stood up for this proposition, but would you mind choosing a spokesperson? And we'll give that person a little more time to talk, rather than have 15 people and maybe somebody doesn't get to say something, so you can do
If
that.
that person requests their comment not be recorded, we don't record it?
It's a public meeting, so if it's an open meeting, everything can be taken down in an
I
open
thought
meeting.
I'd read somewhere, not lately, that where if they requested not to be recorded, it wouldn't be recorded.
No, because anybody has the right to walk in and record a public meeting, whether or not.
Anybody can record it back there.
Anybody can sit there and record a public
Okay.
meeting, so. no,
I know.
Okay, on this
You've
water
had it
meter
happen.
policy, can we take that to the water the right line?
I was gonna ask if that was okay, if we put together maybe a draft or something,
Just
bring
where
it to water
everybody
line
knows
street
what it is.
for y'all to chew on for a little bit. I just kinda wanted to bring it up. Wouldn't have thought much about it, except we're starting to get a few more requests.
We put
And
one in last week or week before last.
we put one in over
Right
here,
across the street.
and, I think it's gonna be good there. We had a request, from, I think it was, well, we had a request from, EEI Credit Union, I think.
Yeah,
Right,
we
this
did.
one
And
from
we've had,
Sterling.
and there's a couple of them uptown that we're gonna do that have asked, and so,
I know we got 3 that's pending right now.
yeah, and so,
Laundromat.
and, you know, and we might wanna look at, these small ones that we put the money aside that will install it at cost, but maybe if it's a bigger one, we do a cost sharing or something like that. These are all kinds of things that we can throw out there and let you guys chew on and then kinda come up with an overall, plan.
So far, all we've done are just single,
3/4 inch or
yeah,
half inch type
3/4
ones.
to half inch.
About like home.
Yeah.
About the same.
They are. The E2C2 program, that's the energy efficiency grants that we're eligible for, as well as eligible to put out in the community for, on the electric efficiency. We've been telling people that program is going to end, at the end of, well, we told them March, really it's April, into the current fiscal year for IMEA. It's not going to end per se, we just had a meeting on this, the committee did, E2C2 committee, but we are gonna revise it and revamp it. And some things that we've been doing may not be eligible going forward, but they're more than likely to recycle the refrigerator and recycle your freezer, that's gonna still remain. That's been a pretty popular one the last couple of years. Some of the lighting will probably qualify, some won't. It's because the results are gonna have to be more measurable, if you will. And one of the new things we're looking at is the possibility of providing grants. There's never been a lot, most of this has always been done commercial industrial type grants, or for the city to put in like streetlights. And streetlights will probably continue to. But one of the things on the residential side we're looking at doing, and again, this is another way to help take our energy money and put it back to our consumers. We may do programmable thermostats, okay? And we're looking at that right now with a view towards, there might be a certain level of reimbursement if a person buys it and puts it in themselves. A higher level of reimbursement if they buy it and have it actually installed by an electrician or HVAC type installer, okay? They recognize that if people that buy them themselves, they have the best of intentions, but a lot of times they're still sitting in the garage a year later, so they're not really getting much benefit. But we are looking at this next year when we do this, maybe having some sort of residential component. Now, it may be, I wouldn't get in a big hurry. I suspect it may be November, December before we roll that part out in the energy efficiency program. But the idea is we need to try to make it measurable, and there's a set of state standards now that they're going to follow for making energy savings measurable. But again, we want to let you know that in terms of what does that mean, normally we get about $21,000 to $22,000 a year, and I expect that'll still be the funding level that the city's entitled to take advantage of. Last 2 items I'll do quickly. Comcast, Mayor and I, it's been about a month and a half ago now, maybe a month ago, had another meeting with representatives of Comcast. Comcast has a franchise agreement with the city of Metropolis. It's been around for, I don't know, 20-something, 30 years. Anyway, it expired in 2009. We have been negotiating on and off since then for a new agreement. Yeah, I know you look a little surprised. Well, every 6 months they change negotiators, so I mean it's a new person, and so this is the longest we've had one guy that we're talking to now, and that's only been about 8 months, and that's probably the longest anybody's been there. We certainly haven't gotten in any hurry because as a company, we don't. Their customer service leaves a lot to be desired. And I know some of you probably can personally echo that sentiment. But negotiated a lot of issues, and we're waiting on that draft to come back. The last session, we got it down to, where we're down to maybe one or two issues on the language, and even those were fairly close on. But they were gonna retype it this time, I retyped it the last time, and we haven't gotten it back. We got a message about a week or so ago to let us know we should get it soon, but just to give you an idea, that will come to you soon. Liberty Utilities, gas company also has a franchise here, and it expires this year. But we've not, other than a meeting that the mayor and I had with the gas company back in, I don't know, November, December, when we talked to them about this small business facilities charge that they were imposing. We brought it up, and they said, oh yeah, we understand it is coming up this year, and we need to get with you and work on a new agreement with the gas company. So sometime this year, we should be bringing you a new agreement with the gas company.
You have any idea when they're gonna start doing those lines?
It's backed off again now.
Yeah, and that was one
I
of
mean,
our,
residential lines, well, they backed off now, they put the project on hold again.
and that was one of the frustrations that we expressed to them, was that you've increased these facilities charges, and basically told the Commerce Commission that this was to enable you to be able to rehab and put in new lines and restore a lot of your, get rid of your older stuff and put in new stuff.
I thought that was all mandated from the federal government anyway, because them lines wasn't.
Well, it has been, a lot of it has been.
Somehow
and
they got
just-
that changed.
And it's just, they're just not fulfilling that. And they talked to us like, well, we've started elsewhere, and you're not here yet, but still, I'm not hearing that it's going on anywhere. I've talked to a couple of guys that have,
I know they've stopped over in Missouri.
that had Liberty, and they're saying they're not seeing anything either.
By the time they get back around, they'll have to reshoot everything, cause
Well,
nothing's
we probably did 200 Julies, maybe more than that.
We-
And now they'll be obsolete, you'll get to do them all over again.
We spent a ton of time with them. I will say this, one thing we are trying to do, and we've expressed this in all these franchise agreements, is to get those companies to provide us with some electronic version of where their facilities are located and what facilities they have. You know, and as they put in new ones, to continually update that on an electronic basis. We have indicated we're not out to cause you problems, we're not gonna sell this information, but quite often they hold up our projects because we cannot, well, we don't know where the facilities are, and they haven't always responded to Julie's in a timely manner. And even then, the Julies don't always show where their facilities are. So we've asked them, and that's something we've never had in the past, and that's one of the key things we feel like we need going forward. Right-of-ways and easements aren't getting any bigger, but technology has come along to where we have all sorts of technology that occupies that little right-of-way or that little easement.
Liberty has been better about coming forward with that than Comcast
Right.
is.
That is one of our issues with Comcast, that we have insisted that we get electronic versions of where their equipment's at and what it is. So, that's about all I have with some of
There's
these.
not another option besides Comcast available to us.
Well, there's a process under federal and state law that you can go out and request proposals. You give a notice to Comcast, and they're entitled to propose, and you can request proposals to get competitive proposals. The problem is there's nobody else within hundreds of miles.
Yeah, closest place down in Missouri, I think.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Charter or Galaxy,
Most of
somebody
them,
like that.
they'll
Yes.
either have to buy their lines out or put new lines in, they're not willing to do that for a town the size of Metropolis.
That's the problem. I mean,
Not
nobody.
enough money there.
We just don't, and right now, it's hard to even get Comcast to put the money back in that we think they ought to put in, simply because of the competition from Dish and Direct and everything else, so. That's all I have.
Next item, committee report, Finance Committee, Mr. Barfield, sir.
Yes, sir, Mayor. This is from our February 16th meeting, Finance Committee. And I will make a motion to accept the funding, the police pension according to the actuarial recommended amount of $431,569 in 12-month installments, and to pay $351,885 to to the fire pension fund in 12-month installments.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
McManus. Mizell.
Yes.
And Short.
Since I'm on the board, I'll abstain.
Next item. Police and Fire Committee, Mr. Carroll, sir.
Yes, Mayor, I have one motion. I make a motion to accept agreement between the City of Metropolis Police Department and the Southern Illinois Drug Task, providing up to 30 gallons of fuel per week to the vehicle by a foresaid agent. That's a very small fee, as I said in the committee meeting, a very small fee for assistance in controlling illegal drugs in the City of Metropolis. We need it badly.
We do have a motion by Mr. Carroll. We have a second by Mr. McManus. Discussion, comment? Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Excuse me, Canada.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
McManus. Mizell.
Yes.
And Short.
Yes.
Thank you.
That concludes the police and fire.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Next item, Water, Light, and Street Committee, Mr. Barfield, sir.
Yes, Mayor, this is also from our February 16th Water, Light, and Street Committee meeting. And I will make the motion on the following three items. First one being, I will make a motion to accept the repairs for the wastewater treatment facility with American Roofing and Construction Company, Incorporated, in the amount of $11,460.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Barfield, second by Mr. McManus. Discussion?
We had two bids on this.
Yes, sir, we did. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
McManus. Mizell.
Yes.
And Short.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will make a motion to accept the low quote received from Browntown Electric Supply in the amount of $6,200 to replace cable that was stolen, used during the Superman celebration, encampment, and so forth.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Barfield, second by Mr. McManus. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
McManus. Mizell.
Yes.
And Short.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will make the motion to accept a purchase for dosing replacement from Flow Systems in the amount of $9,870 plus freight.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Barfield, second by Mr. McManus. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
McManus. Mizell.
Yes.
And Short.
Yes.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
that concludes our report.
Thank you, Mr. Barfield.
Thank you.
Across the back, department heads.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Chief Massey,
No, sir, nothing at this time. Thank you.
Chief Morris,
All good here, sir.
Stoney, sir. You're good also. Doug, you need anything for the head for the good of the cause?
No, sir. Thank you.
We got a call this morning, kind of a little bit unusual, but from the HMG. Probably need to, Sarah called this morning.
Yeah.
She thought she had one person with a crossed up telephone number, and she had me.
Yeah.
Did she tell you that?
I did hear, I heard.
All right. Quite a little unusual conversation.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think she said, did get it straightened out.
We did. Old business.
Mayor, do we have an update on Musco lighting? Have we
No,
heard
we
anything
have,
from
as
them?
far as I know, we have not ordered those yet.
Okay.
I think we can, possibly.
Yeah, I'll know I have a better idea. I'm taking the grant application to Springfield and I'll sit down with Rod with it, Wednesday. And
Good.
so but hopefully by the time I'm headed home, he'll tell me, yeah, it's okay now. I don't know how much money it'll be out of the,
We don't wanna lose whatever it is.
no,
Well, and that may be what we have to purchase. We may have to purchase what we can afford to do right now.
That's right,
But we certainly wanna use what we can.
okay.
And
Thank you.
Stoney's assured me that, as soon as the product comes in, his men's gonna get on it and we'll get them up immediately, barring another snowstorm or whatever.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
what about, where are we on tearing down their houses that we bought? I mean, we're just.
The
still
FEMA
just
houses
sitting there.
were the same place we were this time about 3 years ago.
We still got, I mean.
We're waiting on the
we-
federal government to release the funds that we can actually tear them down. We've got the appraisals, are the bids. We have selected a contractor to tear them down, but they have not given us the written okay to tear it down.
let me explain something. All of the bids, when you get this grant from FEMA, it's line items, okay? Well, all of the bids, came in above, now, within the budget, yes, but above the line items, okay? In other words, there's plenty of money there. You can take the highest, the lowest, or whatever, there's plenty of money. But before you can do it, FEMA says, well, you've gotta amend that budget. So, you gotta show us, and which we did. We did that 6, 7 months ago. at
Maybe
least.
longer than
Maybe
that.
longer than that. But we have to approve it. And we, about once a month, or about once every other week, Tricia calls and gets no response. And about once a month, we write and get no response. And that's where it's at.
Ron Davis is actually over that program, and I've got a meeting, we're going to, I'm gonna give them another month or so, and then we're gonna reach out to our, congressman on our representative side and stuff like that, and just sit down with a good heart-to-heart talk. We may do this week sometime.
But we're
And,
kind of creating a safety hazard for some of those areas.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and even though it's no fault of the city of Metropolis, I mean, but here's the bad thing about it. Just think about this scenario. We were fortunate enough in the city of Metropolis when all this happened, we actually forked out every dime that it took to pay the property owner for his house. Well, instance. Mr. McGuire, let's say Mr. McGuire had a house that he had $55,000 tied up in. Can't live in it. Still have a mortgage on it. Maybe he owes $50,000 on it. Just think about the private citizen that would be waiting on 3 years, making a mortgage payment of $50,000 on a house he can't live in, and a mortgage payment someplace that he's buying or renting. The hardship, the headache. So we were fortunate. That made it better for our local citizens. But I mean, that would have put them, you had 16 people there, that it would have, I mean, they'd have been bankrupt. They wouldn't have any place to live, because they probably couldn't afford both places. And that's, it's a good thing for that, but it is very frustrating that, and like I said, we were fortunate, but there's, all the communities around us, those people are putting out there, they're setting out in harm's way, because the municipality or whatever financially could not buy that out, and so they're setting, in a very bad situation. But believe me, we need to get that. Hopefully, we said this last summer.
Yeah.
We wanted it done before winter. Well, we done gone through winter. Hopefully, we can get it this summer. When at least when we tear them down, we can get grass and stuff like that. But a long way around, that's the answer to your good question.
We share that
Very,
frustration.
very frustrating.
Yes.
Anything else under old business? New business. Miscellaneous reports. Financial report. Payment of salaries, payroll, and contract bills. Moved by Mr. McManus. second by Mr. Short. Call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Mizell.
Yes.
And Short.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion for payment of miscellaneous bills. Motion made by Mr. McManus, second by Mr. Short.
I have a couple questions, please.
Okay.
On page 12, there's a $6,000 expense, unanticipated emergency. And
Well, I can't
I
tell
think
you
it's by the
offhand if you'd
wastewater.
asked me.
Environmental's what it is.
That may be something on Frank's.
Unanticipated emergency, yeah, it's wastewater.
Okay.
I'd have to get back with you.
Yeah, I mean, anything that comes up like that, that when you get those packets, if you'll let us know prior, where we'll have any item you want, but we can't call it off the top of our head.
So it would be also the, on page 14,
Okay.
a $20,000 bill, rounded off, of course. Tyler
Technology.
Technology,
That's our software downstairs.
Yeah, that's the
And
software,
contract.
under their contract that we approved for their
the new
software
server,
increase.
But
Yeah.
the Tyler Technology is
Yeah.
downstairs.
That's for the
I
new
thought that was
technology.
from Kemper.
Kemper's our server, but the equipment come from Tyler.
I can show you the invoice
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Okay. Good enough.
Well,
Yeah,
it's not good enough until you get an answer, Mr.
No,
McLaughlin.
we wanna show
Well,
you.
that's true.
So,
That's true. But I mean, I approved the Kempler bid, and that's why I would expected it to come under.
like I said, anything that you run across in there, just give us a call in the morning or whatever, and we will see that you have any question answered that you need answered.
Okay,
Or
appreciate it.
we'll do the best we can.
There you go.
We have no need for an executive session that I know of.
Let me do a roll call.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Barfield.
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
McManus. Mizell.
Yeah.
And Short.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else for the good of the cause? I would like to say one thing. I wish we all think about what goes on around us and stuff like that. And I do ask everybody to keep Mr. Mizell in your prayers. He is, I can tell Jerry doesn't feel good, and it's hard. I do appreciate the effort that he's putting out, but keep him in your family in your prayers. I mean, he's struggling with health issues right now, and that's not a good thing. And I think we have Mr. Carroll. We've all prayed a lot. Mr. Carroll, I think we got him up on the mend.
I think we're on the go.
And Joanne and stuff like that. But as far as the city council and the people that represent the city, we spend a lot of time together. We spend a lot of hours together. We fuss a little bit. We have a lot of good times and a lot of different things. But y'all do mean a lot to the city of Metropolis, and we want the best for everybody.
Saturday I found out I lost my donor,
Yeah, we understand that.
and, but now Mark's gonna be tested. My son, and so if he's approved, then, and then my niece is gonna be tested.
And we understand that, but that's a time-consuming thing, and a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
goes on, and we know that's hard on you waiting.
We gotta start all over again.
Yeah, that's never good. Anything else we have? If not, we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
And Harry's on the mend too.